James Herman Banning was born in 1899, the very same year the golden age of flight began its takeoff. As his mother cradled him in her arms, the Wright brothers were beginning their experiments of flight. Banning and the golden age of flight grew up side by side, and he knew from the very beginning that all he wanted to do was fly. Did I mention that Banning was born in Idaho?
Idaho? Idaho? I never lived a day in my life in Idaho. I lived in Iowa. You see, that's where I built my plane, that's where I learned to fly, and that's where I got my license. But I never lived a day in my life in Idaho. I was born in Canton, Oklahoma, to a family of homesteaders. Yeah, my mom and pa, they were part of a whole group of Negroes that came from down south and headed west. They had big dreams of making a family and having a better life. And now look at me. Their son flying across the country when 2 generations earlier, my great-grandmother, she was a slave. Ain't that something? Going from slavery 2 generations prior to flying across the country. My name is James Herman Banning. I'm a pilot. First Negro pilot to get his license in the United States. Before it's all said and done, I want to be the first Negro to make the trip from California all the way to New York City. That's New York City, the Statue of Liberty. No. This here is Thomas Cox Allen. He bought his way onto the flight with $250.
I bought my way onto the flight. Did you? Come on now, you can't tell the people that. You know I didn't buy my way.
You're not here because of your sparkling personality. Now remember the town's people. Now, where were we?
Well, you were just about to tell me what you was going to say before we got in front of
I'm going to
all
start
these
from the top. My name is James Herman Banning. I'm a pilot, the first Negro to get his pilot's license in the United States. Now, I know what you're asking yourself. How does a Negro man get a pilot's license in 1927? Shoot, it's 1932. And I'm telling you, you have to be very careful. You have to fly better than the best. You have to be the best because there's so many people who believe that just because you're a Negro, you can't fly. Shoot, I can fly. I can barnstorm with the best of them. There's not a single trick that I can't do. You see, I can loop-the-loop, I can barrel roll, I can spin dive. Now, when you're colored and you want to fly, you got to be able to fix your old bird whenever she breaks down. Alan and I, we're known as the sun-tanned Lindberghs. But the real joke is that there's no Lindbergh that's going to be caught in our plane. Yeah, you see, nobody gave us money so we can build a special plane. And Lindbergh, see, he had all the papers following everything that he does. The New York Times wasn't following us or carrying our story.
New York
Do you think it's because we're Negro?
Do I think it's because? Of course it's because. What you think, nah? You know what? Don't worry about the New York Times. Anybody out here a reporter? Because I know y'all could do a story on us.
Any reporters in the audience?
You know what? I see you with the camera. I think you may be taking pictures. So you know what? Hold on. Before you write down your story, take a good picture. You know what? Because that's what's going to sell it. Hold on. Give him a good side.
Listen, the only good side you have is away from the camera.
Come on. Wow. Okay.
So we left Los Angeles with $25 in our pockets. And I know what you're thinking. Why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because we can. So if one day you want to, you can. We're doing this to let all you know that just because you're Negro, it doesn't mean that you can't fly, because you can, no matter what anybody says. You see, freedom in the air will one day lead to freedom on the ground. William Powell. Well, this is a time in the country when the Negro man is considered less than human, unable to do the same tasks as whites, especially fly a plane. Well, I'm here to prove to you that we can fly. We can do anything that we set our minds to.
And we are. I mean, look at us. We're flying across the world.
I'm getting ready right now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, come on. Fly. I'm gonna need y'all help, okay? We gotta figure out how much it's gonna cost us to get from Lawrenceburg to El Paso. Do you guys mind helping me? I said, do you guys mind helping me? Oh, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, now, when you're trying to figure out to get from one place to the next, what's the first thing you need for to figure out directions? What do you guys use nowadays? Just throw some things out of me. What do you use? Huh? Google.
Is that the name of a goose?
I never heard of no goose. I don't know about
what
that.
that is.
Well, I just want to get from Lawrenceburg to El Paso. Okay, besides the Google thing you just said, what else do you guys use? Huh? A map? Yeah, but I don't got a map. Anybody here got a map? I'm sure you don't. You got a map? Whoa, man, all right. Okay, I like Lawrenceburg already. Thank you, sir. What's your name?
Kaiser.
A ruler. That's great. If I had one of those, anybody got a ruler? I'm sure you don't.
Engineer, I got one.
You got a ruler? Wait, you got a map, you got a ruler. Y'all need to be friends. Okay. I like that. Thank you. What's your name?
Christine.
Christine, good to meet you. All right, so we got a ruler. It's a nice one, too. You mind if I hold on to this? Okay. Appreciate it. Okay, so we got the map and we got the ruler. So from Lawrenceburg to El Paso, $9.99. Anybody on $9.99? You think, okay. What's $1? What? Well, hold on. Let me check this out for a second. 2013? No, you can hold on to that. It's all right. It's all right. You can hold. No. I don't know about that. You need to check that out. I don't know if that's real or not. Anybody else? Anybody with some real money? Somebody.
$2.
$2 for this? $2? Okay, hold on. Hold on. You look like you got good taste, brother. Hold on. $2? Okay. You know what? Hold on. Let me hold on to that. But. Okay, how about you try it on first? Just try it on. Right. Try it on. Yeah, okay, hold on. I know it's going to look good. Hold on. Hey, that boy look good.
Sharp.
Yeah, I like. Okay, you know what? Yeah, you can hold on to. Hold on, I want you to see the pants too. Woo. Yeah. Now listen, I'm gonna just leave that right there for you, okay? All right. Now I need the $2 though. If you don't mind, the $2. Can you?
What, $2?
Oh my! Oh, come on! Now this is a once in a lifetime suit.
So one for the top and one for the bottom.
Oh, there we go. I appreciate you. What's your name?
Hey, Tomas.
Oh, good to meet you, Tomas. All right. Bandit, we got $2. That's a steal. That's a bargain. When I come back to Lawrenceburg, you better have that on now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
And look, don't worry about the suit because we're going to be the most noticeable Negroes in Harlem walking down with our flight suit. I promise you that.
You right on that one. Now you right on that one. Come on, let's move this out the way. We got to get on our way. The first Negroes to fly across the United States.
Looks like some folks in here are hungry. They got someplace to go. Hey, how about you?
What was it like being an African-American flying across the...
What was that word you just used? African American.
I never heard that before.
Neither have I. I didn't know you can put the African and the American together. African American.
I think I'm gonna use that moving forward.
I'm gonna use that one going forward. That's something special.
What did you do next if you continued flying together?
What did we do next? We're here right now.
We're here right now.
Next,
We're heading to
I can't
Harlem.
tell the future. I mean, I would love to go on to, go and get my license and train people, instruct them, and I'm sure Bannon, I mean, he's an expert at this thing, so he can go on and do great things. But that's some of the things that we would love to do moving forward.
Did you just call me an expert? Y'all remember that?
Anybody else? Oh, so.
Was there any kind of news coverage about your flight at all? Were people aware at all when you would land somewhere, who you were and what you were doing, or were they caught by surprise?
Well, none of the major newspapers were covering us in our story. So a lot more of the local papers were there whenever we landed and publicized our story. There was even a town that they gave us some flyers for the president, and we spread them out as we flew over in Pittsburgh.
But the local ones or the smaller ones, those are not the ones that really get to the masses. So I mean, there were tons of stories written, but it wasn't exactly known by everyone because those are not the ones really publicized like that. But I know you were taking notes and taking pictures, so I expect to see a story in the future. I mean, I'm just letting you know. My man, appreciate it. Anybody else?
So why did you end up going to Iowa State?
Say that again?
Why did you end up going to Iowa State?
Oh, for aeronautics. I was very ambitious as a child, and my mom, she wanted me to stay home and till the farm, but I figured I was going to go and get an education and be smart just like she was. She was a school teacher. So she understood that education was important. So they followed me out to school, and they lived in Iowa as well.
Nice. Sir?
So how did your life change after this experience of flying across the country?
Well, I learned how to tolerate someone that gets on your nerves constantly and then has bad breath. But the life has changed. I mean, being the first Negroes to go across the United States.
No. African American.
Ben, there you go.
Ben told us. Come on now.
But we felt special. Not many people knew about it, and apparently there was supposed to be some prize money when we got there, but somehow that's disappeared. I wonder why.
You know, like there were a lot of when we first came together. There were, I guess we thought, there were a lot of differences between the two of us. But in learning and in flying together and being around each other so much, I mean, I learned so much from him and just about flying. I mean, I even learned some things about planes from him. Not too much, because but just learning and being with him. And I'm sure that I taught you some things. You could say it. No, you could say it.
I mean, you're a master mechanic.
That's
so
all you got to say.
Just
Stop right there. Just stop right there. That's all you got to say. I appreciate it.
Thank you for that $250.
Yeah, but I mean, just being around someone who's so knowledgeable, you cannot help but to expand your knowledge as well. So I mean, and we like I told the young lady, we want to continue to just do more of this and teach and give back as much as we can. And it's not over. It's not done. It's not done at all. Anybody else?
So Banning died in 1933. He was going to do an air show, and he got there in San Diego, and they told him he couldn't get on the plane because he couldn't use one of their planes because he was black, and the guy was convinced he couldn't fly. Someone who had more flight hours than most of the people in the show. So someone else came up to him and said, "You can borrow my plane. That's fine. All you have to do is let me do one stunt with you in it." So that he could then go home and say, "I flew with James Herman Banning." So he got in the plane. He was in the front seat. There were no controls. This young man flew up in the sky, got all the way up, and stalled. And the plane tilted. At that moment, what you're supposed to do is push it forward. Go as fast as you can towards the ground. First off, who wants to do that? I mean, as fast as you can, hurtling towards the ground, because that's how you're going to regain control. That's what's going to make the engine start again. But he didn't do it because he didn't know enough to do it. And Banning was in the front, and he had no controls. There was nothing he could do. They hit the ground, and Banning died. One of the saddest things about this is he never had to die. Somebody could have just lent him a plane. But the other thing is, when Pat was doing her research, 3 death certificates. The first one said Banning caused the accident, that he was flying at the controls. The second one said they weren't quite sure what happened. And the third one said that Banning was just an innocent bystander in the plane, and that's why he died. 1933. He was 33 years old at the time. It was one of the big losses. The other thing that's interesting, over 90 African-American papers wrote stories about this trip. But most people have never heard Banning's name because the African-American papers weren't mainstream papers. So that's not what gets you in your history books. The stories that are written in the New York Times, that gets in the history books. And so one of our goals here is to open this up so people learn the name of Banning, feel who Banning and Ellen were, understand who they are, and have an emotional reaction to it. And I can't think of any 2 people better than Banning and Ellen. This is Lamar, this is Jeantique, and they're amazing.
Banning.